I'm Rob Licuria, Senior Editor at Gold Derby, here with Kelly Reilly, who portrays Beth Dutton on Paramount Network's blockbuster western Yellowstone. Kelly, every once in a while, a television character comes along that is so unforgettable that they inevitably hit a nerve with fans and critics, driving viewership and generating deafening buzz. I think it's safe to say that you currently have that mantle with Beth Dutton. And I would like to know, what do you most love, cherish, value about her as a character and also about portraying her?
Well, thank you for that. I mean, she's become something that I didn't expect her to become. As you know, when you start a project, you have no idea if it's going to work. And so when we all signed on 5 years ago now, I knew, because of Taylor Sheridan and the writing, it was going to be, dangerous and brilliant and beautiful. And obviously Kevin, and Beth was a character. When I read episode 1, the pilot of the first season, and I had never read a female character like her before. I had read male characters like her, that sort of irreverent, fearless, and not a femme fatale, not a man-eater, not someone who's just a bitch, but these very conflicting layers of who this woman was. Deep-rooted trauma and pain underneath this fearless, thunderstorm of a woman. And I find her heart and her loyalty and her devotion to her father beautiful. I also find it incredibly sad. She moves me a lot. And then the way Taylor writes her, he clearly loves writing her. And some of the things I get to do and say as Beth, there's only one way to do it, and which is to fully commit. I can't, skate around the edges with her, and to find the authenticity of her is it just is who she is. And there's once in a lifetime a role like this comes along for an actor, and I knew that I wanted to play her. I wasn't certain at all that I'd get the role back then. And if someone had told me what a gift that this would end up being, just personally, creatively, professionally, like, it's been one of those opportunities, and I value it. I treasure it. I've literally just come off set now. I still have my Beth scar on, and we've just shot a scene from season 5. Literally ran off set to do this. So and it's still as exciting as it was season 1.
Wow. And what I most love, I was saying to you offline, that I've been a fan from the get-go, and I've always been championing the show, but it was popular, but it only started getting awards traction pretty recently, which has been so exciting, including that SAG Ensemble nomination for the whole cast. That was such an achievement, just being there with all the great TV shows out these days. So how does it feel to be finally recognized by the industry and critics and so forth as one of the best shows and best casts on TV?
We've been saying we've been filming this now for 5 years, and we've been so proud of it every season. And this year, or for season 4, to suddenly have, like you said, chatter and excitement about the show for the award and for the critics, in the award season, it's a new thing for us, and certainly none of us do this to get awards, or we do it for the work itself, and it doesn't change that for me. What's more exciting is that the passion that the fans have for the show. I love that. That's really special and unique, and it keeps building. And people want to talk to me about the characters in the show, and they want to know what's going to happen, and they want to know questions about the characters. And there's such an investment and passion, and that's really one of the biggest thrills about the success. Not only for me just to get to do the work on a daily basis when we're filming, but the response from just general public. So now we're being looked at in the way that we're talking about. That's probably why I'm talking to you today, and talking for the first time to a lot of people who weren't looking to talk to us before. It's really nice. Of course it is, because we're really proud of it, and we think it deserves to be counted amongst the other brilliant TV shows that are being made right now in America. And I feel that we deserve a place there. But it makes no difference as far as how I feel every day turning up to set, because I truly, and all of us, I can say, truly feel incredibly proud of the work, and it's just so important to us. No one's sitting on their laurels. No one shows up as if they don't care every day. I just did this work with Kevin today, and he's constantly looking, constantly trying things, constantly trying to find something different. And that's inspiring, and I love that. I'm an actor like that. I love the actual days on set that we get to just go to work and find these exciting scenes.
It's so cool. I sometimes wonder what it is particularly about this show that seems to hit a nerve. And I think, it's beautiful to look at and listen to, and the actors are amazing in the story. But I think part of it is that, to me, it's almost like an ultimate aspirational fantasy, because this is set in a very lawless and sometimes corrupt environment, where this family and these people sometimes just do what the hell they want to do, regardless of the consequences. And sometimes we feel like we wish we could do that. Do you think that that's an element to why the show is so popular?
I do. I think there's such a fantasy element to it as well, because of exactly what you said. I mean, especially with Beth. I mean, she is someone, well, all of the characters, they're all slightly lawless. I mean, it is still the Wild West, right, for them. And it's heightened. There's a heightened sense of everything in the show. So we're not uber reality. No one could live their life like this. So I think people enjoy, that they turn these Taylor turns these characters into heroes, but they're not necessarily the good guys, but they're not the bad guys either. So there is an element of wishing Beth says things that you could probably only hope to be able to come up with in the moment if you want to, annihilate someone instantly. I certainly don't have that instinct in me. That's all Taylor Sheridan. I just deliver it, but he's the one that, her mind is one of the best things about playing her. It's so fascinating how it works. But yes, I think there is something about these characters that are slightly lawless, but they are fighting for something that they really believe in, and they're really that matters, that means something, and that's the land and protecting it, and family,
And their legacy.
Family.
Yeah. What I love about Beth, there's a lot of things, but I love how there's a glance, a terrifying glance, or an insult or a dismissal that you do so well that cuts people down. For example, there's a run-in with Summer, played by Piper Perabo, and when she quips that, she looks like a hooker, and Summer says, I'll get you a therapist. Immediately, Beth just says, I hope you die of ass cancer. And I just roared. I thought that was so wrong, but so funny. And I just wonder, do you really enjoy the lines that Taylor writes for Beth? Because they're cutting, let's put it that way.
How can you not enjoy them? And my job is actually to try not enjoy them too much, because if I'm enjoying them too much, then the audience don't get to. So one of the best things about Beth is her, and something I've tried to give her, which helps, I hope tries to, but there is an effortlessness to her, and an effortlessness to her fierceness and her intelligence. And when she does go after someone like a tiger, then we know that's possible. But when she's just giving the insults like that, they can just come, or the comebacks. But yes, when I read that scene, I had the same reaction. I mean, it's so wrong, it's so bad, it's so badly behaved. But that's that thing about people who behave badly, in real life it's not that cool, but I think in our story, because we know who she is, it's entertaining and it's funny. And I think that's part of our show, that's part of Beth, that you have to like her, Not all the time, by the way, but you have to know that that's who you're dealing with. And it's always fun watching the other characters sort of walk into Beth, and they don't know who they're dealing with.
They don't know what's coming.
Yeah, exactly. And the audience know. It's that sort of
We know.
pantomime thing, isn't it? It's like, oh no, we know what's going to happen next, you know. And then Taylor writes, you know, he can play with that and writes those setups beautifully. So so I'm always apologizing to my other actors, although they know now, you know. Yeah, they know what they're getting themselves in for.
It's so good. That's part of the aspiration. I want to be able to say stuff like that sometimes, but we don't. So I'm happy to just watch Beth do it. But then the flip side is you had some really beautiful material to work with in season 4, and I guess episode 9 is where Beth and John have that confrontation. He's so shocked by her lack of empathy, expresses disappointment in her. Like, of all the things she's been through an explosion, she almost died. But that disappointment is what cut her the most. She slinks away, bruised and battered, and cries with Walker singing her a song. That scene was incredible. What do you most recall about performing the scene, and did it affect you personally?
The scene with Kevin, with Dad, or with Walker?
Yeah, both. The scene with Kevin, and of course the one after.
Kevin and I have now been working so closely together for 5 years. I love him so much, and as Beth is, I think that's her. I mean, she's a married woman now, but I think that number one central relationship in her life is with her father, and there's so much history there. And I think all Beth wants to do is make him happy. It's not about seeking approval, but I certainly think that she wants to do anything that will benefit him. I think Beth carries a lot of, harbors a lot of guilt and shame about some things that happened when she was younger. Most notably, like the death of her mother, which she is, it's a tragic accident, but it was her fault. And I think for the rest of her life, I think she feels that she took her father's happiness away, and so she's almost in servitude to him forever. And there's something really tragic and sad and beautiful about that. And then we know the other side of Beth, which is savage. And if she is going to fight for him the way she is, she's learned from him. She didn't just get that from anywhere. And then for him to suddenly decide there's morality in war, she disagrees with him. And she disagrees with who is the enemy. And he tells her to fight everyone. And then suddenly the way she fights is not okay with someone that he now likes. So Beth, takes a breath and disagrees with him for a second and is willing to fight it out. I kind of love that. She doesn't see herself any different than the boys, than her brothers. She's been raised like the fourth son. But of course, her father would never ever lay a hand on her. So they'll fight in their intellectual capacity with their words. And so she's up for that. She's up for that fight and that confrontation. She's not afraid to confront him. She's not afraid of her father. But I do think you're right, the observation of that disappointment when he says, I'm disappointed in you. And I never thought I'd say that. I think you're right. I mean, it was, as it should have been for her, devastating to hear. That's the last thing she ever wants to be for him, is disappointed in. So that rejection from him would make her want to just disappear. That would make her want to just disappear from him and disappear from everyone. And the next morning she's, packing her bags, and Rip has to stop her. And she has to go and apologize and say, your rules. I'll play by your rules. And that's a big deal for Beth, because I don't think she really listens to anyone. By the way, I haven't lit this. This is the sun looking in, and I'm trying to. It's
so beautiful. It's sun-dappled.
I'm sorry. I literally just my computer on the table, and the sun is coming in. So, but yeah. So, and then the scene with Walker in the barn where he plays a song, when she has that line, it's like, I need. Do you know any sad songs? Because I need to cry. And I need something else to cry for, because she can't cry for herself. I don't think she thinks she's worth that much, you know. I think she likes who she is, but I think she gives herself a very, 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 very hard time. I don't think she can forgive herself for many things,
Right.
including that. So I think that was an outpouring of
Yeah.
pain that she needed to let go of. And it's not like it softens her. The next day she goes and, you know, breaks
Well,
into
that's
her.
like, yeah, I mean, there's so much going on there, so much to unpack. And if we had more time, we would certainly do that. But I mean, she marries Rip. That's a great moment. Then, of course, the finale, she's got her brother with a gun to his head, and she's now going to pretty much hold him hostage for for who knows how long. And I know this is a tricky question because you're in the middle of season 5, but will Beth take on board her father's advice that she's got to fight wolves with morality, and will she make amends with Jamie at some point? Is that what you hope? Like, what can you say so far?
Well, I wouldn't want to ruin it for the fans if I tell you what's going to happen or what happens. That would be, you know, unfair. I'm just going to put my hand up like this. Sorry, this is really bad. But yeah, I mean, what do I hope for her? Ultimately, I hope she finds peace.
Yeah.
But and is able to forgive herself, but you know, the sting never fades is the line she says to a character in season 4, I think or 3. She says, "The sting never fades with me," and I think that's just a true character trait. I think that's absolutely real. That if you've crossed her or one of someone she loves, I think that's not something that she's just going to let go. I think that is where she'll I don't know if there's any ending to it. I don't know. We'll have to see. I don't ask Taylor Sheridan, who writes it, what the future holds. I don't ask him. I trust him implicitly as a writer and as a storyteller. And some things I ask him about the past. I want to know about more things about her past. But I don't ask about what's going to happen. But, you know, people living in peace, there's not much drama.
That's right. So I can't imagine it's going to be smooth sailing.
Right, they're not peaceful people. They're fighting. They're fighting.
And Taylor Sheridan, everything he touches just is always so fraught with drama and intensity, and that's what we want. Speaking of, I'll let you go, but last question. I mean, we could talk about your work with you know, when Carter calls Beth Mama, or your work with Jackie Weaver. We'll save that for next time. Okay. You're in the thick of it, Montana. Are you blown away by the script so far? What can we look forward to? I mean, I know it's an obvious answer, but what are your thoughts about season 5 so far? Because we are all literally just waiting with bated breath for season 5.
Well, I can tell you that we're shooting 14 episodes this season. I'm not sure how they're going to be broken up, but season 5 is 14 episodes, which is great because usually we only have 10. And then I don't know what's behind me. And then I don't want to give too much away because I really I'd be told off, but there is Jamie is back in the fold because he's now owned a bit by Beth, so he has to do what he's told, and he's a fabulous, you know, brilliant lawyer, so there's a lot of benefits of having him back fighting on our side. So there's an interesting dynamic between them back together in the family business. And things have moved forward with John Dutton's position in Montana. I can't tell you what, but if you might be able to put that together. And Beth is championing him as usual. But the scripts for season 5 so far are some of my favorite. I haven't read them all yet. We're still, you know, we're filming episodes 1 and 2 still right now. So we have a long season ahead. But, I've read up to 6 episodes actually, and they are fabulous. And we might be getting to see Beth more on a horse this year, which I'm really about personally, because I love all the stuff in the suits and the power stuff. But Kelly, I love being out in the wilds, and and I don't very often get a chance as Beth to do any of the cowboy stuff. So this year she might.
Wow, that's so exciting. Look, it's not long to go. I think it's coming out in a few months, so we will just have to be patient. You guys have a long season ahead. You've got a lot of work to do, and we are so grateful for the show. And thanks, Kelly, so much for your time today.
Thank you. Thanks so much for watching, and thank you for all your viewers for watching.